Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and a great commercial there. Lots of fun stuff to look forward to with Paladins, and looking forward to game number 2 here today. We have All Business versus Sour Team, so a fun one on the slate for us.
And I honestly, if you look at the last set, that one was it was lopsided, but I will say, you have, again, one team that has been kind of hovering towards the top in what was Clown Fiesta, and Blazing Hussar is kind of sitting in that area of they have a lot of potential, but can they finally show it?
Right.
This is that kind of game taken up a step. You have Sour Team, who is dominating the region, just barely, but still dominating it, and All Business, who is very much in the middle of the pack trying to find their home.
Right.
I think they are a team that, if they can get everything together, then they have that contention for number 1, number 2, but it's just taken them a little bit of time to get there.
No, absolutely, and with it being week 3 and having 4-team divisions, this is now the last week where new teams will be playing
where it's
each
a
other.
Unique matchup.
Right, so this will be the first time All Business is playing Sour Team. As you said, Sour Team off to a very hot start, but looking over at the All Business side, that's not a lineup to scoff at. You have some really big names. You have some guys who are highly potent to make some really big plays, so certainly something to watch out for here.
And the thing that they've always had going for them has actually been the fact that they are very flexible, I guess is the best way to put it, because of the way they've drafted, the way that their roster is set up. You don't have to worry very specifically. Like, we're looking at, let's again go back to last set.
Right.
Andrew Doodle has kind of a very specific set of champions he has to play in order to make that team work. All Business have been flexible. It's just when they are going up against the likes of Clown Fiesta or, in this case, Sour Team, you can't just be comfortable. You have to be able to kind of turn that up to the next level.
Right.
You have to not only be comfortable, but you have to have those player pop-offs.
No, absolutely, and you saw Bugsy there. Obviously somebody whose name we've said a lot, somebody who always has the potential to pop off. And then looking at the flip side, Sour Team, obviously 2-0 for a good reason. Again, they obviously have some players who, know how to play the game and they know how to play it together.
And this is actually, I think it's funny because Nick was saying, one of the things he's wondering is whether or not PML is going to be who has the most ex-PPL players.
Right.
And Sour Team is kind of holding true to that. I mean, you've got Ninu, who's been around for a while, Perdo, Shipa as well. So a lot of players that have that super high level experience, some that have won championships in the past, some that, even though they haven't done so maybe in the last year, were still sitting up kind of towards the top of the board. And, I mean, we even mentioned it earlier, Zarini, who is going to be filling in for Phoenix later this week in the PPL. So, you obviously have players that are good and they know what they're doing. And that is why, when you're looking at a team like All Business, it's going to be even more work. It's an uphill battle for you. And
you said it coming into this this matchup. This is really going to set the tone sort of for where we're at and how the next few weeks will go. I mean, Sour Team they are 2-0. They are in first place right now, but All Business being able to make it 2-1, 2-1 each, this is really what's going to set the stage. We're going to go ahead and take a look what the first map is going to be here in this set. Decide, see which map we'll take it to start things off here. But yeah, high potential for a lot of action in this game. It really needs to set the stage moving forward. Frozen Gar is our first map, so a bit slower.
Looking at the scoreline, like you said, not only being able to bring All Business to 2-1 if they win this set, but bringing Sour Team 2-1, and then tying it up with Clown Fiesta, who would be 2-1, whereas when you're looking over on the other side, Blazing Hussar 0-3, again, this is the kind of set that can make the difference of how big of the gap is there in Europe. Is it going to be very set in stone, Sour, Clown, Business, and then Blazing, or is there going to be enough of a jumble that you don't have that kind of stereotypical of, we know who's winning this set?
Right. No, exactly. And so, in that case, you hope for maybe a little bit of chaos. You hope that every week leaves you guessing. Pretty interesting bands coming out for the side of All Business. You get 2 damage dealers, the Cassie and the Leon. On the opposite side, a little more standard, so Makoa Torvald coming out here for Sour Team.
And Grover's been, he's been a big pick pretty much all Paladins 2019 that we've been watching, but he's in that really interesting area of where he is getting picked up. Sometimes he's not winning, even though he's the number 1 pick. He can do a ton of healing given the right composition, given the right kind of protection, but he just hasn't been able to accomplish it every single time.
No, absolutely. I actually really like the way All Business has started their lineup here. I know Barrack tends to be a little bit more contentious of a pick, but Grover being... I
think it's only between Nick and everybody else.
But I think the issue is we have to mention that now. It's become such a living meme that we have to mention that.
Nick will fight every Barrack main.
Right, he will.
In a gauntlet.
He would love to do it too. He would love to
he'd
do it.
probably, well, I don't want to say he'd probably win. I'm sure there's some people who could put up a good fight, but you never know.
I really got to witness his skill firsthand in that playtest the other day, and it was horrific. He finally joined our team
in real life.
Right.
Like he was gonna it was gonna be like a physical fight. Like,
sorry, Nick, we're setting you up for sadness here. But Kana, Nara, Damba, Zin, first 4 picks here for Sour Team. The Maeve, Shaolin coming in here for all business.
Yeah, I mean, again, you look Grover, Ash, Barrick, that's something that you're used to seeing at this point. You add Shaolin, and you're like, okay, we've seen him sprinkled in a couple of times, but never like picked up. Shaolin plus Maeve, this is very much it's a very all business kind of draft, but it's very much a frozen guard draft.
Right, absolutely. Well, Zin Victor rounding out the Sour Team lineup.
Pretty
2
standard.
very high potential lineups. Very high pressure looking on either side to give the edge to either one at an initial glance.
I'm leaning towards Sour Team, but I think it's just because they have much more consistent champions, whereas, I mean, All Business can absolutely take it, but you have to have Shaolin and Maeve have some very solid performances.
Well, high skill floor coming in here for All Business, but if there is a lineup that can make it work, it's certainly theirs. Is Maeve your champion to watch in this case? Is that sort of the where it teeters on the edge for you?
I think so, but she's in a good area. Like, this is actually a really good matchup for her as well, just because you're coming in, you have the execute, you're against an Anar and a Khan. If there was anyone you ever needed to be able to get rid of instantly, it's those two.
Well, time to find out how it all plays out. Frozen Guard is going to be map number 1. Evan and Nick are going to be your casters. Let's send it over to them.
Oh, thank you, David Gore. Man, we are getting hyped up in here.
Is this just the Frozen Guard intro?
This is just the Frozen Guard intro. We don't hear it much.
Is there any consistency?
Yeah, there is. Everyone has its own.
It's a Frog Isles of the Jungle Bongo thing.
Jungle the Bongos, the Bright Marsh is the ha 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 ha. And then this one's like a little Metallica with like the band, the leftovers of like the Bright Marsh ha 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 ha.
I like it.
Band.
The rest of them froze to death in the orchestra.
Exactly. We've got some big-time players here, and obviously the story is that Sour Team have really a lot of Virtus Pros roster from last PPL season, and Ninu, Perdo, and Sheepa, some of our oldest players in the scene, and All Business with a little bit of an interesting lineup, at least from what we've seen today, inserting the Maeve and the Shaolin. But it makes a lot of sense because Cassie and Leon have been consistently banned today.
Yeah, All Business, this is actually something that they ran and did very well with, to be frank, on Frozen Guard. Last time they played here on the weeks prior. Granted, it's a very different name. Mr. Bugsy, I believe, played that. He's no longer with the team. Subbed in last week as they found a new replacement. That is Young Closar. We'll see if he can fill those shoes. So far, no one's died, so can't really comment.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things I like about the Maeve, though, is the mobility. And they take these long fights. There's this corridor of separation, but one of the best champions to get to the back line when there's an opening is this Maeve with the Prowl Speed bonus. Saving it now, gets a nice heal, but Ineffable finds the first kill on Ninu.
She's about to get executed here with a Nara. One more set of daggers, and that will do pig. Doesn't have any cooldowns to work with. Got to be careful here. Closar, I think, starts to realize that. Khan's trying to get in there for the touch, but man, he's nothing but dead at this point.
Yeah, this is a good fight from All Business. One of the things is that the cost-benefit analysis of Maeve throwing her daggers versus anyone else shooting at Maeve, it just slowly tilts towards Maeve's favor because she doesn't have that reload, and it's very consistent pressure that ended up winning the fight.
Yeah, that's actually something that you don't really talk about much with Maeve, but it's huge. It is a big, big part of it. I mean, hell, one of Andrew's talents, like the viable talent for Andrew right now, is 3 more ammo. She doesn't have ammo. She doesn't have fall-off. She's almost like the Bomb King of Flanks, where the only thing limiting you is your ability to hit these no fall-off damage auto attacks.
And when you can do it from range, when you have the experience, it's a great thing to bring in. I wonder if we'll see more Maeve coming through in this season. At least on this map, it's possible. Tries the shoulder bash, but shoulder bashes into the abyss there. The canyon takes her. And,
as Gormizer would say, the effort was there.
The effort was there. Hey, she definitely tried. Slipped and fell her way into a defeat, but hey, she tried to get up on a run, you know?
Something that you won't see every team do here on Frozen Guard is something that the confidence of Sour Team is leading them to do now, is this zone here. They'll move back up to where they can take a safe team fight around where the point fight used to be, get everyone off their horses, slow them down, burn time off the clock, and this is really the optimal thing to be doing right now. I don't know why you would kind of sit around, wait in your base. You really going to wait out this Earthen Guard, man?
Well, he got walled off, which I loved. I mean, that was just a great play coming up, and just he tried to be aggressive, didn't realize the Inara was there, thought he was just chasing Ninu. That was a problem.
Could be a good day to watch Zarini too, because he's going to be filling in, actually, I believe, for Na'Vi.
He's fantastic.
He play these games, fly out. He's got to sprint to America to get here in time for the PPL. So we got to watch him. I imagine he's going to be slotted in doing what he's doing now. I can't imagine Navi would ask him to change too much from what he's performing here with. He's going to be filling in that spot for Phoenix, which is a very tough spot to fill because Phoenix is a big part of that team. The captain does a lot of the drafting. Very, very flexible guy. Does the TPS when they needed to. Does a lot of the aggro tanking when they need him to. So I'm curious to see if maybe Lazy will sort of do Phoenix's job and Zarini maybe does Lazy's job for the initial week or however long it takes.
Yeah, because typically you would see, if there was maybe a con Inara, you would see Lazy on the Inara as it was last year. And, of course, Zarini with the fill-in where Phoenix would be on that con. A little bit more aggressive, getting into the thick of things and somehow making it out. That was kind of, and is kind of Phoenix's specialty. But at this point, Zarini, we'll see where that shows up. Should be exciting. And leaves open a lot of conversations around, how much is fatigue, travel, all those things going to play into the fact that this league is LAN now starting this week. And these subs are maybe not getting a lot of sleep or not even adjusted in time.
Well, the zoning worked out fairly well for Sour Team. Got him all the way in the overtime under the overpass, but now the payload is knocking at the door. A small slip at this point, and this payload is going to go through, but Perdo has chosen a nice little spot to fight from.
And there's the heat haze, and he sniffs it out. He knows Ineffable is right there, but he's too low to really peek. And there's the damage. He's getting the headshots, but still, Ineffable follows back up with quite a lot. No one is low, and they're going for it there. You see the whirlwind from Grover. There's the dome shield from Barrack. They might just give this one up. It's a double kill from Closar. This is looking good. I think it's going to be a push.
I mean, this is kind of crazy. Sour Team is undefeated right now in this region. All Business have looked shaken and lost arguably their best player. And they're coming out and they're going to go up 2-0 above Sour Team. 4-0 for Ineffable on the Shaolin. 4-3. Frankly, the picks that I had the biggest question marks for are performing the best.
And that's sometimes what works. You see a team insert a new player, it's a different dynamic. Sometimes that's all you need. It's like a car, sometimes, a little lug bolt is out, nothing's working, it won't run, and suddenly you fix that and everything's zooming from 0 to 100. So Closar, with the resilience investments, Nick, All Business definitely wanting to get away from any CC.
Yep, Serpents, you've got Seismic Crashes, as well as Overpower, and it's like, it affects Overpower in a kind of a weird way where it's like the trajectory of like how you're thrown, and I don't know if it affects the actual duration of how long you're held still. I think he can still yoink you for a long time, but doesn't give us the opportunity to see here as he does miss. Sheepa, unfortunately, that's a big whiff in the ultimate category.
And you could tell it was the pressure, and I like this kind of counterplay where you see the con overpower, you immediately just rush in because they've essentially lost a member of their team as well who's able to be that frontline pressure. So have you. But it's a lot of focus there that goes into that big man. 39% and counting for Sour Team.
Dude, they could have been at 60 or 70 here. They were spending a lot of time not capping there. All Business collapses on that con after he misses his ultimate. And then Zin and Inara are floating near the objective, but not on it and not capturing until they almost complete the full collapse and kill Sheepa. I think they really could have been in a much better spot if they'd been capping the whole time.
And it seems like there was something a little off. I don't think that they anticipated Sheepa to miss there, so that's probably what threw them on the back foot. And now Please Do is taking all of the advantages for it. 2-0, looking like it's a very possible 3-0. And our first map of Frozen Guard on the day. A nice seismic crash, spite, whirl into the billow to get the overtime. It's a nice play. We'll see what they can do with it.
Chasing it down. Doesn't have the cooldowns to execute it at the moment. 12 seconds still on the billow. Can't get down fast enough. Overtime is going to start here, and now Closar is in a good spot to execute.
Very good Dread Serpent. It's going to buy him a little bit of time, but isn't enough. The grenades are flying through. He gets the reset on Grenadier. William Birkin fighting strong Sheepa with the shield, about to melt, and there's the overpower. You can just throw her up, throw her down. He's trying to find the kill. Is it going to be enough? Closar still makes it out. The Maeve is alive and prowling. That is not what Sour Team wanted to see. A whiff, and then not a kill on the ult.
Tough stuff there. Just disjointed at this point. You saw Perdo running all the way into the enemy backline there. Just trying to stay alive. Ash staying in the face of this backline of Sour Team has made things very, very difficult for them. And normally you expect to get flanked by the flanker, but it's actually Maeve dealing with the front line here, and Ash has done the majority of the job sitting on Perdo, and when she can, trying to prevent him from doing a ton of damage to her team.
There's just something about, when the Ash shows up, you have to move. This Maeve is setting things up so well for her. And then Please Do shows up and says, you can't sustain more than 4 shots, and I've got 5,400 health. What are you going to do about it? Sheepa goes down here as well. This is paying off so well for Closar. Both takes down. Perdot looks to fall soon as well, or maybe fall in a delayed fashion, which is even better.
I mean, at this point, you got to be talking about, all right, well, Maeve is working. This is an undefeated team in Europe. This is 3 ex-PPL players. There's got to be some truth to this Maeve pick. Where else could this work? Could this work on Serpent Beach? I mean, she's been pulled out there more often than I think any other map in the past, so maybe this Maeve is an opportunity to come back alive.
I absolutely think so. Got to give a huge shout out to that stun you just saw from Ineffable. That arrow set the kill up for Closar yet again. The sub has been working indeed. We'll see if Jopi can go down. Nice shot there in the backside. Shaolin doesn't want to step forward too soon. Getting very close. Nina with a good counter. Serini as well finds himself with a good opportunity. This is going to be a little bit of a pushback. Not quite the end yet, but it is close. About 95% of the way already pushed.
And you can see Sour Team aren't in a spot right now with Ninu still down where they feel comfortable pushing out and zoning like they did. That a minute and a half that they burned last time out in front is just not going to be the case this time around. Perdot is still doing good damage, but it's not sticking. It's not getting kills. And again, shout-outs to Ash here, keeping up with Maeve, who's done an incredible job sitting at like 9-1 or something like that right now.
Yeah, and Perdot, yeah, like you said, a lot of damage. It's just not it's not effective damage, and there's not much more effective damage than a Street Justice actually taking effect. That's just an instant kill. No chance to heal that one up. Serini getting low, but getting pounced on as well. The daggers have come out. Midnight is here, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to survive another day. In all business, grab the victory here.
Tough stuff there, and that's that game where it maybe shifts the meta of Frozen Guard a little bit. That's where you're not really respecting it quite yet, but now you have no choice to.
And my thing is, Frozen Guard wasn't played at all in the last set, and we've seen these teams bring it out again and again. I wonder, what's the map dynamic coming up in these next weeks of the PML? Be very interesting to see as we head back to the desk after game 1. Maeve.
Yeah, whose map pick was that?
Showing up.
It feels like that felt like an all business pick.
It was whoever was first pick in that. I think it was all business.
Okay.
I think it was.
I think you're right, yeah.
All right. Gore.
Well, map number 1 is in the books here. And the 2 big things to touch on, the Maeve and the Shaolin. I know that those were sort of the question marks going into that first game, but both paying off in dividends.
And almost worked exactly the way I said, where it's just like they're very Frozen Guard picks.
Right.
Do they work or not is kind of the question. And a lot of teams have brought them out on Frozen Guard and they're like, cool, we can play it here, and then had it just fall flat on its face. This was a nice instance of pulling it out and not only being able to make them work, but they paid off in dividends. Like Maeve was, I think, 12-4 before I saw the very, very end. We'll have the actual post-game stats for that. But like with Shaolin and her both having that performance, it just looked good.
No, and it did. And obviously something planned on, something prepared for. 66,000 damage for the Maeve, as well as Please Do on the Ash. And then, of course, Ineffable on that Shaolin, 85,000 damage, so certainly making his presence felt. You also have to look down at Perdot. He had 108,000 damage, so doing his best to hang in there. But Closar on that Maeve, I guess you could say that he was really the difference maker here. Just different enough of a champion, just obnoxious enough of a pick to really throw a thorn in the side of Sour Team.
Yeah, ended at 13-4. You can see Ineffable at 12-2. But the Maeve, the reason... So Ineffable was consistent damage, right? That's kind of exactly what you're seeing out of Perdot as well. You're seeing a lot of this, we're just going to shoot, we're going to hit these shots, and it's going to deal damage to you. Nick was mentioning the Maeve, no damage fall off, you just have to hit your daggers and it works, but it's the execute. That is where Closar was really being able to find a lot of that utility, because all of a sudden you don't have this same tanky presence from the Inara, from the Khan. Like, they just can't stand on the point anywhere near as long, or at least not without that same pressure that they are used to, because you happen to drop too low below the threshold, Closar's got you.
And I think this might be the clip. If it's not, I think it is. Yeah, the execute right there. I mean, Inara is, picked for her ability to stand right on the point when you have a champion like a Maeve who's able to essentially cancel that from a certain percentage of health. That just eliminates a threat that one team has going for.
It's in that perfect area. This is the thing about Inara. Inara can drop down to that threshold in any other matchup, and she's going to get healed back up to full. She's going to pop her own damage reduction, which allows her to get a little bit more healing as well, and she's just going to go from 25% up to 100. With Maeve, with anyone who could really either burst that last bit or execute towards that bottom, that's where you get that opportunity of you don't have that chance to heal. You don't get that second life that most Inaras normally get. And that's one of those things that kind of felt like Sour Team didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and kind of on the flip side of the coin, Bright Marsh is going to be your second map here. But on the flip side of the coin, you look at the Zen and the Victor. The Victor obviously worked out in some sense, but you almost expect a Victor to have top damage in these sorts of games. You pick Victor to just deal a huge amount of damage, but the Zen on the flip side just didn't really work out for him that time.
Yeah.
I mean, to say the least, I think that's a nice way of putting it. Just didn't really work out for him. But again, to keep harping on the Maeve, is that a Frozen Guard pick, or is that potentially a pick that could work anywhere?
It's a Frozen Guard, a Serpent Beach, and maybe you could wiggle it into some other maps, but like those are the two big ones. Those are this is where you can guaranteed run Maeve, and it can work for you as long as you are playing it well, right?
Sure.
You could bring it to places like a Bright Marsh, but it's a little less guaranteed.
Sure.
There's certain avenues about those other maps that enable her a lot more, and this one, I mean, she still works, but you have to rely on the other team's draft, I think, more than just your team's draft.
Less easy, potentially, on a map like Bright Marsh. So not expecting to see the Maeve. Could be surprised here. Makoa and Nara, first two picks coming out. So leaning on to the tankiness, those high priority front lines, pretty standard picks. Khan wrapping out the all business lineup here. So a pretty good 1-2 stack here.
And I think it's really funny because this is, I want to say maybe even being able to call like a bluff from Sour Team, where it's just like, I mean, last game, Sour Team won an Naracon. Now we're going to pick it up. And like, what are you going to do? Are you going to run Maeve against us? Like, are you going to try to fight us? What are you going to try and accomplish? I think Cassie's probably the best secondary pickup. Like, if you can't get the execute, big game is pretty much the next best thing.
Right. So big game, going to be a threat to the Naracon. Zen, instead of being on Sour Team this time, we see him moving over to the all-business side, not finding success in the previous game, potentially finding some success in this game. And then the Furia with the Inara and the Khan. So one of the higher health per second heals now coming out to keep those tanks nice and healthy.
And we do have Grok coming through, and this is a map. This is just Grok's map. Like, this is one of the only ones, when he was ever picked before, this was one of the only ones he would be picked on. There was a period of time where he, like, skyrocketed in terms of, like, usability, where he could actually, like, be awesome, and that's where people picked him up, but this is going to be a solid draft. This is going to answer my question, which is Sour Team just really bad at Frozen Guard, or was that all business being phenomenal?
Yeah, that's not normally how you see Frozen Guard going. Normally it's, 4-3, 4-2, something like that. Right. But you do have all 10 picks locked in here now. Sour Team looking to bounce back against all business. Bright Marsh is going to be your map. Nick and Evan are going to be your casters, so let's send it on over to them for game number 2.
We've got the violin concerto back here in our live our live studio band, and it's great to have them back. Thanks, guys and gals. Appreciate it. We're on Bright Marsh here for game number 2, all business. If you missed it, grab the Maeve, grab the Shaolin, and did the dang thing. And now it's up for Klosar to try and do it again on the Zen.
Going to rock a little bit of the Tyra here, and not necessarily having a ton of synergy per se, but it almost feels like something they grab just so they can, again, have a little bit more effectiveness with that Inara. She's been floating around a little bit. We've seen some damage amp comps that are now including Hunting Party, which has been kind of fun to watch. I don't really know if any of that's really the name of the game here. For Ineffable just feels good about this pick on Bright Marsh.
Yeah, I think it's real strong zone. I think it's the Hunting Party with the Zen synergizes really nicely.
Definitely.
And with the Khan too, because he's just on that borderline of being a very incredible damage dealer. And you give him this extra boost, he's dangerous in all forms and manners. Ninu, though, on the Cassie. This is a champion that's been banned most of the day. One of the first times we're being able to see him, and it's already bursting down a lot.
What a 1-2 punch there. Makoa Cassie is something you want to stay as far away from as possible. Despite all of the theatrics, though, it is all business, still in lead on the objective.
Uh-oh. Nice damage there. Purdue doesn't see it coming. In fact, he feels it, so he's going to back off. Good whirl. This one's going to go to Sour Team for now.
That's a good way to put it. He feels it.
Yeah.
He did a lot of that last game, too, where he was Victor getting chunked down by Ashe, but he never looked at her. He's like, I know what's happening. I know how much time I play this game for 17 years of my life.
Exactly.
And I know when I need to start running away. That was like, he knew the timing of the Zen strikes and just ghost walked it without even looking.
And beautiful play there as well, just to wait it out. He knew with the patience.
That's a vet.
And that is definitely a veteran. And Joby ends up coming over. I'm sure the call was made. Supporting in all different kinds of ways. That's a hook. That should do the deed. And it should be .1 going the way of Sour Team here. Getting themselves back in the rhythm and back on the scoreboard.
Yes, sir, indeed. Off to the races this time around. And again, a great team defeated by a composition that's not meta. That's when, you know, we see so many times where it doesn't pay off, where the underdog tries to switch it up, tries to make something happen, and it just doesn't pay off. So it's cool to bring attention to the fact that it did today, and all business are in a good spot here. Glosar just gets hit with the hammer.
That just looks so, I mean, you just see it coming. You know what's happening.
Thought it was his moment.
It just feels like you get caught by your parents doing something you shouldn't be doing. Maybe trying to sneak out of the house, and you get the hook, come back over. Imagine if parents could do that. Man.
He had his Furio wings. He was ready to fly, and then just
get over here. Get back in.
Ground pounded by Scorpion.
That is I mean, that's a product that would sell.
Plenty of ultimates here as we kind of move through the day, and Kratos popped the Tempest. He might pop it a couple more times. Saw Grok a billion times on console yesterday, to the point where, I mean, these Groks are getting 4 ultimates off a round, and they're not even hesitating. The second they're getting them charged, they're building Morale Boost 3. So the Tempest is a very useful tool on console. We'll have to see if Peridot elects to try and use it the same way.
Yeah, and there's so much value in that aggressive style ult just from one player as well, when that ult is not really what you're counting on to be successful in your team fights. It's just an added bonus whenever it shows up. There's a Dread Serpent, and boy oh boy, they take advantage of this one. Sour Team are going for the gold here with a 2-0 push and a couple ultimates used.
Somewhat starved for ultimates now, as Ancient Rage is going to be their most impactful one. Not quite a country mile, but I would say a regular mile here over the Dome Shield, which is also not available. So they're going to have to get it done without ultimates here against what is a kind of a big slew of them here. We've got Crossfire, we've got Spite, Seismic Crash, Overpower. Taking the fight on that same side of the map is going to be important here, because the only way Overpower is lethal outright is if Khan can catch you off to the side that the water's on. He might still just grab somebody. He's been playing really, really close to Ineffable.
Yeah.
So Ineffable might just be behind him, and whoever he grabs is going to get slain nonetheless.
The thing about that ult, too, is it forces Please-Do to be either very obvious where that team fight is happening, or to really not take advantage of his ult the way that he would probably want to do. He's got to maybe hide behind a corner, maybe have some access to his team. That's a good commander's grab, because it's just meaning Sheepa, don't dive. He's going to try to get to the Solar Blessing, but it's going to run out right before it. He's in a bad spot now, because Sheepa's coming on the right. He's already low. The shield is low and getting lower. It's broken. He doesn't have the dash ready, but a beautiful heal. And they're going to get to the Solar Blessing this time around.
I mean, in my eyes, the mistake here is that they're not setting the pace of this fight. They had all the ultimates. They had all the cards, and they just didn't play anything.
Yeah, it was too late. I mean, I think at the point that he got bursted and he used the commander's grab to get Sheepa, just the pressure was on, and Ninu's been a pain in their side. And man, they're going to blame the Cassie again, aren't they? This is going to get banned once more.
They Endflame crashed, and it's like, where did it? Crossfire too? Where were any of those ultimates? I didn't see the impact, and that's kind of a tell of like it maybe didn't have one.
And unfortunate to use that there as well. Perdot maybe is just getting a lot more sneaky damage than we're thinking. Maybe just the pressure is that strong. It looks like all business have gone from kind of leading the pack here in this fight to being completely overwhelmed and disjointed here.
Yeah, these are like tilted ultimates at this point. They just like aren't making much sense to me. In a couple of ways, Spite is still available, but it's far too late to bring this fight back. I think Perdot and the boys are going to keep on rolling.
And that's the thing. They have the aggressiveness. They have the extra healing. And Sheepa is just doing whatever he absolutely wants on this Makoa. Another hook. Tyra, where are you going to run to? Where are you going to hide? Absolutely nowhere. It's a full wipe. DSI here essentially for all business. Fury is back in base, but she's not out yet. And is there any way to come back from this?
I don't think so. I think at this point, Sour Team are looking like they're really going for it, and they have really important ultimates to do it. Dome Shield and Dread Serpents are great counter-engage and engage if they need it. If Seismic Crash comes out, they're going to have what they need to respond to it, and all business at this point, being down 3-0, they have to respond.
He may just want to preempt the Dome Shield with a Firebomb underneath where he's standing, but at this point, it's not going to matter because Serini takes down Ineffable, the one person that might have made that Dome Shield a little uncomfortable for him. 1:11 on the clock, but as the seconds pass, so do the members of all business. They're trying to hold on to it. Please do. Last shot, Ninu slays him And I think Ineffable with a Crossfire might just be a little bit too late to make an impact.
Very, very close here. They're stalling very nicely, and if anything saves it, it's that first Fury Beam that came through. Ancient Rage still here, 360 with the wrist to Sheepa.
Wow.
Rarely will you see him style on somebody, but I think that was an attempt, actually.
It might have been. And Sheepa,
he tried to swag on him.
He might be trying to swag on him. If you've seen Sheepa, he's stepped his swag up over the last few years. He's definitely got the look now.
Little top knot.
He's just swagging out. Sheepa, you know what I'm talking about. We've seen him throughout those phases, so it's kind of funny. Now in game, they are caught back up in the set 1-1, and it's going to spell probably maybe another game 5. I mean, we've seen these sets go long once we see those 1-1s. I'm curious to see what the Desk thinks. Do you think this is going to go the distance now?
Certainly could go to the distance.
Yep.
Those seeds are kind of sewn out right now. Sour Team answering back in a big way, a clean 4-0 sweep after getting swept 4-0 on Frozen Garden. A couple notes that I had down in the middle of that game was All Business had 2 kills after the first, I guess, push and capture and push. So when it was 2-0, they had 2 kills on the board. Then at the end of the game, there were high single-digit and low mid double-digit streaks for every single member on Sour Team, just to kind of explain how well that was going in their favor.
And honestly, this is the kind of way I want to answer the yes, this game, I think, or this set could go 5 games.
Right.
And I can already hear Nick and Evan groaning at what I'm about to say. But this is like, you're starting off a fight, right? This guy slams you as hard as he can. He uses 50% of his energy, let's say, in one punch. And then the next time, like, you throw one back and you do the exact same thing, right? And then you go into the third game, I guess, in this case. And then it's like, okay, well, now it's like 4-1, 4-2. Then the fourth game's 4-1, 4-2. And then you get to the last one. It's like this 4-3, like, just grudge match between these two teams. I expect it to be a brawl fest.
Right.
But if Sour teams stay that comfortable, I don't think All Business can put their hat back into this.
Yeah, it's tough. When you have a guy like Ninu, as comfortable as he is, he got back onto that Cassie, her being banned out in the first game. 11-1-8 is what you get. And it's going to be hard to win a game when you have an 11-1-8 Cassie. And you mentioned this, the big game being such a threat. And it proved to be such a threat still in this game, noting the 1 kill down the board there for the All Business players. But Ninu, definitely the guy to watch here in this one.
And it was just a consistent and constant lockdown, right? From one side where almost seemingly in every single one of these clips you can notice one very common theme. No one's looking at him.
Right.
They're looking at the front lines. They're looking at Grok. They're trying to kill off literally anyone except the Cassie. And because of that, Cassie does, again, silently become your most high-value target that you're not hitting. You're not able to get rid of her. If you kill her once, it saves you a fight, but you just could never pressure her.
They did kill her once. She had a 19 KD.
Oh, good point.
So that's,
she was, 11-1-8. So.
There you go. Right, so the stat makers will like that. No 0 to divide by in this case. So the Cassie coming through in this one. I know you kind of mentioned maybe a lot of back and forth potential sort of in this series. So now it's All Business's answer or option to answer back. They answer back with the Warder's Gate now getting the map pick after losing the last game. How do you feel about Warder's Gate?
I like Warder's Gate. I'm not sure if I like Warder's Gate because I've seen some crazy strategy on it that makes me happy, as much as I think it's just nice seeing a newer map still kind of deal.
Right.
A lot of times, like, I mean, Splitstone Quarry came out, teams avoided it. When Ascension Peak came out, teams avoided it. This is a really good sign that it's just like, okay, well, you know what? We're going to have to play on it eventually. Like, we might as well go ahead and grab it while we can. And I think All Business are that team that is trying to figure out the best strategy on it.
Obviously picking it because they feel some sort of comfort level with it. Yeah. They've potentially have some sort of strategy that they can bring out for us here. Not a new ban strategy, though. The Khan, the Torvald, pretty standard. Makoa Pip, I guess, is a little bit weird of a ban as the Pip, but not necessarily on Warder's Gate. Pip, we've seen Pip excel on a map like Warder's Gate. Lots of space for him to be weightless and flop around. So, Pip, I appreciate that ban. Yeah. You're not going to get the Inara. You are going to get the Grover, however, as the first pick.
The minute I said Inara, I looked back at the bans and I was like, well, there's Grover available. But I don't know, is Grover going to make the big difference? I mean, he did really, really well in Game 1. I expect to see him do well here. That one, I think, is determined partially by the player, partially by the map. I feel like Grover is it used to be maybe I'd even say 50-50. Like on Splitstone Quarry, he was really, really good as long as you were if you were a halfway decent Grover player. But if you tried to bring him into some of the other maps, it would be awful. This is more, I'm going to say like 90-10. Like as long as you're a good Grover player, you can make him work anywhere.
Right.
But you still need a little bit more of the map kind of facilitating you. And I'm curious as to where he's going to stand on this objective to heal, because there's not a lot of like safe places where he's also going to hit everybody.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see play out for sure. Cassie going back over to Sour Team, finding huge amounts of success. Saw her highlighted some in those post-game stats. Zen going over to All Business, who I don't think he was played in the last game, but played in game one to a minimum amount of success. Shaolin, though, going over to All Business, and it was All Business who played Shaolin in game number 1 to a good amount of success as well.
But did I expect to see him again today? No. So that's going to be, again, interesting to me.
Right.
But it's because Warder's Gate, even though I feel like at this point, like we've seen it enough that I should stop calling it like a new map, but there still hasn't been in my mind something that's solidified as this is a pick for this map. Like Shaolin definitely works on Frozen Guard. Does he work here as well? I think All Business want to prove that.
Remains to be seen. How about the Buck? Quick thought on the Buck.
I mean, he's Buck. He
Buck.
does a lot of good work in a lot of scenarios. No Torvald bubble means it's going to be a lot more difficult for him, but if you get a Swift Spirits, Moldamba, and some good heals, you can jump around the map and kind of keep some control, but I don't know if he's going to be able to accomplish as much as they want.
Well, it's up to them to decide how much success they will find in game number 3. Warder's Gate is our destination. Evan, Nick, take it away.
Thanks, man. You know, it sounded like you called Nick Neck.
Necking.
Do you have a long? Are you just the neck? Is he just thinking the neck is exposed? Do you have an abnormally long neck, Nick?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I never really noticed it until Dave just
I try to
called
keep
you
the
it right
trap
now.
game strong, so I don't look like a
There
trap.
you go.
I got a big ass head. That is objectively true. So
And so it would follow that the neck would have to be relatively large enough to support the. You know, Dave, you might have just opened my eyes here. You might have just opened my eyes. I'm gonna call Nick Neck as well.
like I buy a Snapchat that says one size fits all, and or a snapback, and I'm ready to sue for breach of contract.
I just thought you hit me with the biggest flex ever. Like, yeah, I'd buy Snapchat. I'm like, oh wow, okay, all right. Let's see how you're rolling.
Other people grind my social media for me.
Bordeaux here, picking the Buck. I like it. And, you know, this is a lot of flexibility on a map like this. It's something that Bordeaux is really comfortable with. It hasn't been super meta. I think people have been trying to bring it back in from what we've seen in these competitive games. And so far, it's just been really about this, you know, playing this kind of game where you have all these lines of sight breaks.
Oh, no, dude.
And I just saw something else break, unfortunately. The soul of please do.
Miscalculating, recalculating, make a U-turn. Like, I don't think the GPS can save you at that point.
Yeah.
Bit of a free win there, lucky break. I'm not sure which way that fight was going up until that point. I mean, Ash was getting pressure, but it is what it is now.
And that's the thing that I think Buck does well on this map. He can sustain the pressure against the character like the Ash. It was the last pick. This is probably in the idea of Sour Team to just say, you know, we can buy a lot of time here. And we're safe. You know, we have that sustain that Zen has as well. They're matching that really nicely with the Buck. And I think Cassie beats Shaolin right now as far as the, you know, objective efficacy in a fight.
Yeah, very, very clumped right now. Tough to get in on that. Buckwild is ready to go. Ineffable finds the first pick. People are still low, though. This fight is salvageable if the gas pedal is slammed, and it looks like it will be for Sour Team.
Oh, but these are the spots where you want to be if you're Buck. I mean, Bordeaux using this high ground, getting these headshots. At this point, you want to find Closar, at least force some damage onto him. See if you can hit the shot. The Billow is there. But this is what it's about. You just get that heal. Ooh. Hopefully make it out alive. Closar can't finish him off. Doesn't want to follow up. And that's a smart play.
Please, dude's got to be careful now. He's scarred.
He is scarred.
Really worried about these jump
Dude,
jets.
follow him. No, I'm good, man.
No.
Let's hold.
That's not the play. That's not the play.
That's not the play.
I got my reasons. 128 now. Kiwi's coming around the corner. Still waiting on our first.
From the top ropes.
I love it.
Sheepa using the flight, but gets taken down just as fast. That was really cool.
Had to try.
Oh, man. Unfortunate that's not a highlight play.
Yeah. Too bad there. 2 more kills for Closar. Peridot manages to find one, whirling through, getting pretty aggressive here, making all eyes on him, so to speak. Spidey's ready, too.
I think you do it.
Damba might.
Man.
Ooh.
I mean, Cheepa came back. Would it have been different? I don't know. I think if he hits 1-2, then spites immediately, he might have got that kill. Still would have traded. I think Sheepa would have cleaned them up, but maybe you trade with the healer as well before then, and that helps you to keep this going.
Or when the stabilize here. Buckwild came out at some point. Not sure that I felt the impacts of that. Maybe that was the previous team fight there.
Yeah.
Nice little solo fear here on a Barrack. Guaranteed pick, locked in, 30 seconds on the clock, and payload within striking distance.
Just good angles as well from Prudeau. Nice shot there coming from Ineffable. He's felt very confident on the Shaolin today. It's gotten them their first win on Frozen Guard, which feels like years ago. Now please do. Battering with the Ashe. Shoulder bash at the ready, but I'm not sure he feels confident knowing that ledge is right behind everyone. So they'll hold for now. 10 seconds left. Which is looking harder and harder.
Sheep is back now. Sheep is finding good damage, forcing Klosar out. And Nara Barrack boxing on the objective. The payload's going to start to move if this Barrack goes down. And Nara has kind of full committed here. Wall goes up, and fortunately she will go down.
And just a lot of hesitation on both sides. I mean, there was moments where either team could have really pushed this. The defense is somehow staying stolid, but Klosar could be in trouble. He's trying to find the angle, trying to get the heal. Prudeau knows he's one shot away. But man, it's just target swaps, and Ineffable takes advantage of it all. Says, let me get the cleanup that we've all been looking for here.
Had to watch it one more time. Almost brought it, but just didn't have that Super Smash Brothers, directional influence there.
You needed DI. You need some more DI on that.
Can't get it going. Unfortunate. Running shoulder bash loadout here. Not needing to siege shield it up. Barrack's going to go ahead and fulfill that role.
The problem with this is now his loadout's so shoulder bash focused, but he's so hesitant to shoulder bash again. 5 points in that bad boy.
And 50% lifesteal. I'll be honest, I've never seen anyone play with that card.
I think it's the same level of coming into awareness as that
200 health a shot.
That Victor Predator, and it is quite a lot, especially if you're just poking from afar, and then maybe the tank doesn't. You're not getting the focus because you're not the main tank on the point. Maybe you're playing aggressive. It's a good card. It's a good style. Give up on some of the other things that I love, which is kinetic burst, knockback distance, things like that. There's the shoulder bash, looking for the damage reduction as well. And this is a nice spot for Ashe to be in.
Chunking away here, a lot of HP to work with. You're seeing that life still starting to come on through. Prudeau has already found 2. Ninu's dropped 1. Please do, cannot get the shoulder bash that he wants. My guy. Tough stuff.
I think he got Megatonned out, or can we see Cassie's loadout here? He definitely looked like he got adjusted, and it was...
It's probably just a plain old disengage.
Might have just a disengage, yeah. Just throwing him off a little bit. Unfortunate.
Ooh, going for the touch here. Spites in Billows to get the rest of the way there. So an overtime will start here, but Klosar will lose his life for it. Wow. Those types of plays, you got to make them, but they rarely work out.
And there's the stun, so maybe he can make up for it here. It's just been a lot of attempted damage, but there's been such a good effort on the side of Sour Team. Their composition is so mobile to be able to play around these corners. And please do, with his long burst, clear directional mobility, cannot keep up with the quick dodge rolls, the quick jumps, and the consistent healing that Cassie and Buck are doing. There's really no good backline target to try to flank.
It's just the moves and counter moves. The first round, it was, he was happy to take that 1v1. Ashe is always happy to force a DPS to fight her and distract someone entirely and just keep pressure up. But that adjustment kind of got made. We haven't really seen the Prudeau 1v1 there anymore. He's finding ways to get kills and staying away from this Ashe. Great wall to keep herself alive there as Zarini tries to rotate out.
Yeah, we had the chance to watch Please Do last round. I just felt like, he had a couple moments where there's some good damage on the table, but just kept target swapping. Couldn't really find the spot to be. And a little bit of a vagabond there. Didn't really have a home. There's a seismic crash. It's going to get cut off before, so he'll save that one. Klosar finding Zarini. And throwing up the counter preemptively, knowing Ninu is around the corner. Trying to hold yet again is all business. Ooh. Oh boy, oh boy.
I wanted to actually see what would have happened there.
Yeah, me too. I think he would have died. Looked like he was going down.
Yeah. The jump jet tried to slow him down, but Buck's a big boy. That's a lot of physics coming at you.
Big boy right there.
That's a lot of thickness. I mean, it didn't work out for Ashe. We've seen that already.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. You can mess it up.
No, this is not. And this is still a map that, yes, maybe they've scrimmed on, they've played on, but it's in the relative nature of Paladins maps. There's still new components and still things to be tried, especially in competition where it matters, where these things are being keeping you accountable for the end of the season and whether you advance to the tournament or not. 40 seconds left now. Sour Team trying to turn this into a 3-1, take the lead in this set yet again.
Early Grover Whirlwind just to keep things nice and healthy. Seismic Crash comes out on the low ground. Not sure how many people it hit, but here comes the Hexafire to try and find some follow-up kills. Sheepa can't track it down.
And that really feels like where they're hoping. They were hoping to get a lot, but they just haven't been able to. Sheepa, again on the Hexafire, not really able to get things done.
Yeah, it's the tough part of... Wait.
I think that was an intentional death to reset.
That was a spectator glitch.
Oh, was it?
They didn't actually die there. It sure looked like they did. It looked like they both did.
I think Ninu fell. Ninu, he might have.
I saw Damba go down, but Damba was still alive.
Damba was fine. Damba was fine.
Interesting stuff. That defense is going to hold. And Nara's one of those ultimates. I almost like it better as like counter engage because of the CC immunity, and the lineup is like, it's kind of too long at this level to get a ton of value. There's just ways to respond, I guess, at the end of the day. Like, you know it's coming, and you know, like, all right, I'm probably going to do this to respond to this, whatever it is. It hasn't been the quite effective setup, so maybe go to the Dread Serpent first. Save that Seismic Crash. Maybe you can stun out an Ashe before she hits the ground. You can do maybe some different stuff with that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the line of sight breaks for me is the key, being able to, you know, just be in view and then be out very quickly on this map and on the point, around the point, to the side. Inara really has to find that location that really makes her feel confident she's going to land one or two people. And if it's not going to be, just focus on one. Get one key target with that Seismic Crash, and you've pretty much done a good service to your team. Otherwise, the counter engage is available. That's an early kill from Perdot, and so far so good for Sour Team.
This is what happened when Ashe is there to keep the lid on, right? And she's probably going to try to make that rotation, but like you said, it's going to be hard to keep up. It really just is. Please Do goes down somewhere out in the Wild Wild West, and it's a 60% lead to nothing for Sour Team.
Did you know the lyrics to that song back in the day?
No. I think you and Ryan definitely, I mean, I could definitely say wiki wiki wow. Like, you know, I mean, I could do that part probably, but no, I'm not going to claim to be any type of
Will Smith
hip-hop
aficionado.
fan.
Yeah. And I still am. Love me some Will. And Zerini there, capturing it up for Sour Team. And overtime's going to tick away yet again. All business here. Just, I guess, delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, all business. Maybe, I don't know. It's more of Sour Team. I feel like just need to get something going to get this one put away. I don't want to see it go to a 3-3 because that's where, you know, funny business can happen. If you've kind of just like lost unceremoniously in the previous 3-point fights, then you make one big change and Sour Team doesn't have the chance to respond. Seismic Crash comes out around the corner. Again, that Seismic Crash Hexafire combo doesn't really manage to get much. Oh,
but that's a good wall. And you just wish that wall was a little earlier. What can Zerini do here? This man's going to be playing in the PPL for Na'Vi this upcoming week. Can he find the kill? Oh, good burst steal as well. Gets stunned from Ineffable. He's trying to get those zigzags, but the spray comes out indeed. Shaolin doing Shaolin things.
Says good luck in the PPL. I've already been there. It's really hard.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go ahead and beat your butt here in the minor league.
And, you know, Zerini obviously looking forward to meeting him in person and kind of
apparently
seeing how he
Spunky's
plays.
known him for like 9 years or something like that.
Wow. Well, that doesn't tell me much.
Scuffed Perdot and Sheepa.
Scuffed Perdot and Sheepa.
Just in terms, let me clarify in terms of their relationship duration. I'm sure they're great players.
Oh, gotcha. How long have Perdot and Sheepa known each other?
22, their whole lives.
Their
22
whole
years.
lives. They didn't know it was that long.
Yep.
Are they twins? Were they in the same womb together? I didn't know.
They are not.
I'm finding new things every single day.
They've just been Finnish homies.
They can't be that much older. Were they in kindergarten together? Like, what was this, pre-K?
Yeah, I think they're exactly
preschool?
the same age, yeah.
I mean, they can't. I mean, unless they're like 28, and I didn't know. I think they're around a lot of the age of these players. But Perdot says it's not about age, it's about aim. You had it right with the A's, but that's a nice finish on the invisible Ineffable. See him a little bit in that heat haze, but he knew where he was because he was getting thrown back to the squad. This is going to do it. Sour Team should be taking the lead here in this set.
No ultimates to push it through here. All business have a couple that they can still fall back on. Ashe being one of the better defensive options for them. Closar doing a good job, like not really dying too much and always kind of being the last one alive. That's a little bit of just being Xin. But 10 seconds on the clock here. Now there's a Hexafire crash available. Third time's a charm, Ev?
Maybe. I mean, at this point, you're hoping that Chiba can make it work. And he does finally.
Yes.
At least he gets a kill. Half health on a Barrack. I mean, that's more than nothing. And at this point, you know, please do is just saying, please do go away from the point. I'm the only one here, guys. Come on, don't do this to me.
Pog.
Sour Team, say it's not about you, dog.
Ooh.
Dread Serpent style on the end screen. And that's a GG. Sour Team now 2-1 in the set.
Found a way to make it work there. It was a slow, kind of just grinding defeat overall. It wasn't really anything too flashy about it. Sour Team just knew what they were doing. Maybe it was their composition, right? The same way Maeve and Shaolin took them off guard. That buck isn't really something that's very commonly seen either.
Yeah, it was a really nice draft for this map. I like what they did. They had a plan, and they executed. 2-1 for Sour Team. It could be the end, but let's send it back to the desk to break down what will be potentially our final game of the set.
2-1 to Sour Team it is, and Buck finding his first win of the day. Cassie finding some more success, same as last game. Ninu doing a good job on the Cassie. So Sour Team finding a way to win. That was All Business's map pick after, maybe it wasn't. No, it was. They lost map 2, so they picked Warder's Gate. But Sour Team having an answer for it, and they said it best, I think, the casters did before sending it back to us. That was just sort of a grindy, maybe one comp just having the edge.
I'm actually really excited as well to see Purdue do as well as he did, just because it's that I guess awkward area where Buck has not been in the meta. He's only in the meta with very certain things kind of supporting it, and he's only in the meta with certain things supporting him on certain maps. Like, there's just so many stipulations. So seeing Purdue being able to come in and have a performance like this, it's those headshots that really get you. I mean, hitting for 900 plus makes it a lot easier to kill people that way.
It does make it a lot easier. It makes it very easy when you have a champion who just is able to do that. 108,000 damage, so one of the highest in the game, if not the highest in the game. So Sour Team finding back-to-back success here after going down 1-0. So All Business will have another map pick here at their disposal. So ball is back in their court to answer back, sort of in this case. Looking at game number 2, do you see? I mean, do you think that was really just picks and bans? I mean, that neither team really played poorly, at least in my eyes. It was just sort of the way the ball rolled in this specific one.
I think, you know, when you go roll back like you're looking at game 1, that is one draft outdrafts the other. And that is why you see All Business just able to completely take over Sour Team. And then you go to game 2, and you're looking at Sour Team not only being maybe a slightly stronger draft, but also, based on that last game, maybe a slightly stronger team overall, especially since they are top of Europe right now. And so that, I think, combined into giving them their 4-0. This was a lot more still trying to test the waters, is what it felt like, where it's like, okay, well, I mean, you grab Buck, we're going to grab something a little out there. Like, we're trying Warder's Gate out. Which one of us is going to come out on top really does come down to those, like, small details. Like, does Please-Do accidentally dash off the side of the map? If so, then we win a point. It becomes that easy sometimes.
That's right. I forgot about that at the beginning of the game. Very
I
unfortunate.
think he was hoping we would have forgotten too.
No, we're going to bring it back up. Let's roll that clip back. Just kidding. We're not going to watch that. We're not going to do that again.
Exclusively that clip.
Let's exclusively rewatch that one. We'll take a look at map number 4 here to see where we're going to travel to. All Business giving us Jaguar Falls, so nothing too out of the ordinary here, but Sour Team on a back-to-back win streak right now as we get into picks and bans as well. Anything you look for from the All Business side to maybe stop the bleeding a little bit? I mean, we've seen the Buck come out, which was a bit of an interesting pick. The Shaolin has come out a couple times. The Maeve has come out a couple times. Is there a potentially unpopular, is not right, not an infrequent pick maybe that you could see coming out here? Anyone specific? Or not really? Just kind of depends what they're feeling.
I'm trying to think of things that work really well on Jag Falls, and none of them are too outlandish.
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Zen come through, just because he's always consistent on this map. Obviously, your Cassidy, your Leon, your Bomb King. I wouldn't mind seeing a Drogos, but I feel like teams, it's just finding that right place for him. And
that's
it's
fair.
Just because of how his playstyle is, like, there's enough that counters him that you don't want to pick him up first.
Right.
And there's enough that counters him that you really can't pick him up late because they're still picking it. So it's like you just have to kind of hover that gamble. Nah, they're messing with me. I'm not saying anything
I'm just
about
curious. I know you're a prop at notice. You know, that was harsh.
I knew.
I thought you were a prophet, but you are not a prophet. And Nara it is instead of the
I still
Drogos.
could be.
You could be a prophet.
It just
That's
might
true.
be much later in the game.
Might be later. No, but you said it was either early or late, so, you know, the opportunity is still there to be a prophet. The Zen, so kind of a prophet. I'll give you a half prophet. Half on
prophet.
the prophet. You get a half gold star there.
50% Jesus right here. I can't do any of the magic stuff, but I can call your picks and bands.
Call your picks and bands, and that's what's more important. That's the half we need is the pick.
Yeah, no, obviously.
But the Zen Ash.
Water into wine? Who needs that? Like, what are you trying to do? Get drunk?
One of the worst power ever. We're not going to dive into
Actually,
that.
I mean, I will say worst power ever because I do not like wine. Water
Right.
into something delicious would be awesome, but
Water
I also
into
like drinking
Gatorade.
water, so like, why would I do that?
Now we're just getting messed with. There's no way
No,
this
this
is
one's
gonna be-
actually going to be it.
You think so?
No, I have no idea.
I'll give you a whole $1. Nope, there it goes.
Okay, I just missed out on a whole $1.
I got you $1. Grover, Sin, Ash, first 3 picks. Fernando, is that the first time we've seen Fernando today? I think it is. Cassie and Nara, Damba, Barrick, first 4 on the other side. So a Dredge,
Okay.
close to it. You got a DR champion, not the Ogos, but the Edge on the back end of that one.
Dr. Edge.
Dr.
Well, I need a Dr. Edge skin where he's
Dr.
like, he's just
He's like
all emo.
angsty, he's emo-y. Yeah. Oh, no.
I know what I'm pitching in a meeting later.
Drogos, surely the 5th pick. Coming out here. Oh, no way. It actually is. The Prophet Gore does it again. So the Drogos, on a serious note, the Drogos comes out. How do you like him here on Jaguar Falls?
I like it only because, again, when you're looking at what all business have, I said there's a lot of things that counter him. They don't have any of it. They don't have a Leon. They don't have anyone that's really hit scan to take him out of the air. You have some good damage. Ash is going to be good at tracing him because she doesn't
Sure.
have to hit direct shots, but like Dredge is going to have to angle really odd to try and hit
That's
up into
true,
the air.
actually, yeah.
And for the most part, axes, they're pretty hard to hit long range while also trying to find someone who's flying around.
Well, game number 4, Dr. Edge versus Dr. Ogos here on Jaguar Falls. Let's send it over to Evan and Nick to break it down.
Thank you, Dave, and the prophet of Miser, Gore himself, the man with the
4th of his name.
the 4th of his name, son of the wind, father of the sky, master of Inara,
Predictor of doctorates.
predictor of doctorates, bachelor of science.
What a beast.
This man, I could keep going on.
We're lucky to have him.
Yeah, we really are.
I just watched that episode the other day where it's like all of Daenerys'
All of it.
This is Jon Snow.
Master of
King of the
the Wildlands, King of the North, 5th of my name, Ned Stark's son, the King, your rightful king and ruler. Bow down to me. I can't wait for that. It'll be fun to get back in April.
Nobody can.
Nobody can wait. Everyone is not waiting right now. And, wow, Ninu certainly isn't as well. It caught me off guard for a second because I was wondering who's going to play. I'm thinking Perdo and Sheep, but they just get to my mind so much. But it's Ninu's that good, man. He's such a great flex player for them. He really is what brings this squad together, in my opinion. And being able to be on the Drogos, it's very hard to counter him right now. Getting poked out, but he's done a great job this far.
Definitely. Ate a harpoon.
Yeah.
I was going to make a bet as to
Pearl.
whether or not Dredge would do any damage to Drogos this game. I don't know how you have a prayer of hitting that character the way he flies around and how high it is.
Yep.
Catch him with a lucky reload or something, but if it's not a harpoon, I don't see a way Closar does damage to Drogos, and that could be a kind of a weird hard counter to think about. But
yeah.
if Drogos is just way above Dredge, there's no hope.
Well, he's not playing. I don't think he's prepped for Hurl. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to play that.
Ooh.
But man, I mean, it's just interesting to see. It's definitely a cool opportunity to check out Dredge loadouts. We don't often see that. He's got a little Sea Dog, some Dark Bargain there, all good cards. Heave Away, which is the most stereotypical and crucial card in a Scuttle loadout for Dredge. It's going to give him that reload speed that he needs to keep hitting that.
Ooh, Fire Spit almost taking him down. Closar gets in under 50 HP. And not a ton of people are dying, but they just keep ceding territory, and they're running out of real estate here. At some point, all business is going to have to take a fight.
It's because William Birkin, I mean, he's really on the Fernando, not able to contribute that much as far as creating space. He's backing up with that shield. He's got a lot of maybe defensive stalling power, but not enough to create the pressure that the old Fernando with Scorch was able to create, where people are now low health, they have to back off, they have to get healed, and your damage dealers can step forward into that. But great stuff from Nino. I think it's really been all about the fact that no one's having an easy time with this Drogos.
Sour Team have done an interesting thing where they've taken away the point tanks. You don't see a ton of Barrack and Nara played. It lost once earlier today in that quote-unquote triple frontline lineup. Right. But Fernando and Ash are just nowhere near the ability to sit on the point like these other guys are, especially with a Drogos flying in the air. Not a lot of great counters. Like I said, there's not. I would bet you that Closar doesn't hit a left click or a reload on Drogos this entire game if he's up in the air. And Neffable isn't really going to be able to do it super effectively because he's going to have to be out in the danger zone to do so. So I don't know. This draft from Sour Team might just be a cut above.
And now I think the only hope is maybe to get some pressure out from Ineffable here. I mean,
crushing the shield too.
He's just got so much damage on the table. William Birkin is forced to Immortal very early. Ineffable not even looking up in the sky. I mean, how can you? I think Grover's your best bet at this point.
That's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
Dragon Punch is ready. He knows Immortal is down.
Oh, yeah.
Contesting on the objective. Barrack is staying alive here. It's just, it's resources spending and nothing is hitting home for all business. That's the scary part right now. And Ineffable does get the kill on his Zarini, and that Dragon Punch is called off very early.
And it's just to get the zone, force them back, and get a little ground. And sometimes that is enough, but fast cap, comeback mechanic. You got to be aware of that. Someone will need to touch on the objective. Xenos doing a good job of keeping William Birkin nice and healthy. Please do here. Gets a good kill onto Sheepa. Now it's just maybe been a little bit too much time. They've isolated Zarini. Good Mother's Grace into the stone. Ooh, and that is going to be very important to try and finish off. But the Inara's still around. Overtime ticking away. Are they going to get it? Nice kinetic burst. That seals the deal.
Good stuff there. And this Dragon Punch will actually come through and land. That's the biggest question mark in that team fight is to, you know, Immortal's down, Spite's down, Sir Dominance is down. Why did that Dragon Punch in the middle there not find a home? I think he really could have punched anyone at that point. It didn't have to be a tank. He didn't want it to be if he didn't feel good about it, but I think you definitely could have found someone.
And I think he was worried about just trading. And, you know, playing a lot of Drogos myself, I've been caught in that position of, do you want to just get a kill, or would you rather stay alive and do more damage than you would have done by getting a kill and dying? You know, you're going to get it, but if I'm alive for 20 more seconds, I mean, that damage is going to be, I'm going to have such a bigger contribution to the fight. And
definitely, especially in this game,
yeah,
where he's not really getting pressured. He's like, he is chilling for a long, long time, not really getting super looked at in that fight. So that is part of it. You're right. He's going to stay alive for a long time, it appears.
Right.
And so these Dragon Punches, he's got to be like, I need to definitely live.
Right. He's like, I mean, he's like, I'm not dying unless I do this. So, you know, maybe. And he didn't die that whole round. So, I mean, the problem was, it was exactly what they needed. Nobody died instantly. They had the comeback mechanic. I like it here from Ninu and the rest of the squad. But props to All Business for playing around the Drogos this last round. They did a good job of staying alive. It's not an easy matchup for them here.
Dread Serpent's going to fear a couple. Whirlwind's going to try and keep it together. That shortcut is not going to be taking you out of harm's way. But Dread just managing to dance around long enough to stay alive, and it's a 2-for-0 so far in favor of AB.
Oh, good shot as well. Ineffable only needs one Yomi strike. Misses on the first. Whiffs the two smaller ones, but the third connects, and the Dragon gets taken down from the skies. And now it's looking like there is a chance with this momentum to tie things up. All Business have 4 ultimates to their name. And they're going to keep all of them.
Yeah, they just steamrolled the comeback there. And it's tough to pinpoint in my eyes what exactly led to that big flip-flop. Damage chart is still telling the exact same story that it was after the first round, but this time around, All Business, they're finding kills. The biggest difference is really that point fight just took longer, and maybe in a longer setting that All Business composition starts to come alive a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Closar, despite not having a great time getting Ninu down, stayed alive, 5-1. That's pretty impressive. And look at this, the all red. What do we call this thing?
The Red Ranger build.
The Red Ranger build. I mean, at this point, he is in Cauterize, Bulldozer, Wrecker, and Deft Hands. I don't know if you'll ever see this again in Paladins esports. It's a very rare sight.
Yeah. Don't want to get rid of the turrets, the Warder's Fields, the walls.
It makes sense. It all makes sense.
Yeah. Barring a Ying, this is the deployable lineup. Shortcut just in time to get him out, but a lot of pressure on the backline so far. Nobody's really free firing. No one's died yet, but it is Sour Team on the objective in the onset.
And playing in these cubbies where Drogos cannot have an impact, Oh, and the Kraken's not going to hit here. He tried to force Serini off. Most likely it would have worked, but a great shortcut as well. Sereni's not going to chase that, and the way that he's using these portals, it's been very, very nice. Sour Team, 75% and counting, though. Something needs to happen now. All Business are alive and well, but they're not on the point, and what is going on here? Okay, there we go. Finally finding a kill onto Serini. Closar handles that by himself.
96%. Can you call it a loss for Sour Team? They don't get the kill on Ninu either. Salvo's ready. Salvo's going to look for Xin here, and it's going to find him. Dragon Punch just to look cool.
And here's the immortal potential. Ninu knows that he doesn't have it. He's been keeping track of the ults, and he makes it out alive. Oh, that was the problem there. So Xenos on an 18 streak. It's not going to matter.
So it's a fight one for All Business, but Inara on the objective. They made the choice. We're taking a 4v5, and we're going to have Inara on the objective the entire time. Now they lose that fight. Half the team goes to contest Inara, which doesn't end up being enough. I heard a wall go up. I'm going to imagine it gets some value there because Serini stayed alive forever. So he walls a couple of people off, maybe has cooldowns up. The chase onto Ninu is not fruitful, and it actually gets turned around for 2 kills, make it even 3, right? That Dragon Punch got to count for 1 in that combo. That's just a big turnaround and a big brain, patient play from an experienced team.
It was also just a little too aggressive, I think. You know, when you chase Drogoz that far away, it felt like you were doing the wrong thing, you know, especially with that point still ticking up. And it just took too long to get Serini off the objective. Please do as well. Gets caught out. Dragon Punch looking even better. This is the thing about using this Dragon Punch onto Fernando. The Immortal counters it, yes, but it charges up twice as fast. So he's gotten 2 off. Fernando's still at about 75% on his ultimate charge.
And the more you kill him, the least amount he's out on the battlefield charging his ultimate. So we'll have to see if he actually gets one off in this game. 119 on the clock. They certainly won't need it.
Yeah, and Drogoz, meanwhile, back to 44%. Almost about to lap him again. And William Birkin, I don't think he is going to get a chance to Immortal, unfortunately. He dodges, but he dodges right into some damage. The last shot will be the last kill. And the Dragon's going to emote on the point. Give him a roar. Sour Team take the victory. They take the set. And they do it this time on Jaguar Falls with a nice Drogoz composition.
I guess at the end of the day, both those compositions just designed to build and keep momentum very well. And both the teams, when they got out in front, they stayed out in front.
Yeah, I mean, the Grover early game, when he gets going, that is going to be an issue. And luckily, Sour Team were able to solve it. Really nice point fight at the end. Saw the intricacies there. And I think at this point, that's why we know Sour Team have taken the lead and are moving forward in the standings here in the PML. That's going to do it for this one, but let's send it back to the desk to break it down and get us ready for the next set.
Sour Team finding their footing yet again, making it a 3-1 series, making them 3-0 now in the PML. And that Drogoz pick was a difference maker. They didn't really have an answer for him.
And that's the thing, and Nick actually pointed out really well. It's just like, how much damage is Dredge going to be able to do to a Drogoz very early on? Like, you look at Xin, you look at Grover, like, they have the most potential for the shots, maybe Ashe, I think, out there. But there was no one who was a, yes, you are the Drogoz killer. You're the one who can deal with it. And because of that, you can see Ninu kind of skyrocketing in terms of his damage.
Casual amount of damage.
Casual 134k.
Casual 134k.
Average game for Nick.
Absolutely average. Perdo finding some damage as well. I think he had just over 100,000 or just under it. So, bit of a 1-2 punch there.
13-3.
Yeah, that's it's going to be tough to deal with. You can see some replays here, and I mean, that really is the storyline in game number 3, is the Drogoz just not finding a way to deal with it. They All Business did find a way to deal with it. They were able to answer back with a quick point capture and then a successful payload push, but that was sort of on the back end of being able to find Ninu in potentially unfavorable situations, maybe right after Dragon Punch taking him out, or just really having to hit their shots. I mean, you saw Dredge able to hit some here and there, but Drogoz, I think, is really the storyline here. Not really much else to it.
I mean, so much of it, as you can see there, is like just, again, no one's able to hit him. The most time they get damage on him is when he's Dragon Punching, and it's like, okay, well, I have to come from my home way up here in the sky down onto the ground with everybody else to try and hit a front line. So they took advantage of it when they could, and they got, 3 kills out of him overall, but 13 deaths on your side is not anywhere near as good looking.
Too much to deal with. As a result of that one, Sour Team cementing themselves at the top. 3-0-6 is their win-loss game plus-minus slash line. Clown Fiesta, All Business, Blazing Hussars rounding out 2, 3, and 4 there. So Clown Fiesta finding some success earlier in the day, finding themselves in second place here. But We kind of looked at today as the teams sort of separating themselves and maybe one team proving themselves better than the other, whatever it may be. But I think Sour Team is the team to beat here.
Yeah, and today, in my mind, was very much one of two things. It was either the teams all stepping back together, very similar to what we had at the beginning of the split, where it's just like, okay, the score lines are going to be like 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 0-2, 0-3, or whatever.
Right.
Like, it's going to be very, very close. Or you're going to end up stepping further apart, which is what we got, the 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3.
Got it. Well, that's going to do it for this bracket of the PML today. After a quick break, we're going to come back and start on the other side, the other division. We have Ferocity versus Bork right after this break.
Brought to you by Skillshot, Hi-Res Studios, Evil Mojo, INAP, Steel Series, Respawn.